Welcome back, everybody. This is Edwin, the Magic Engineer, and I'm here with Perp.
Wait, hold on. I thought you were Rudy. If this ain't Rudy, you ain't big enough. I don't even want to be on your channel. What the f is this?
Yeah, I'm not Rudy, but you're here now.
Okay, shut it down.
Yeah.
Carly,
Okay,
I
bye.
blame you.
Thanks, everyone, for coming. It was good having you. So how's it going, man?
Not too bad. I guess I didn't introduce myself, but no introduction's necessary. I'm amazing.
Okay, so Mr. Amazing here has gone by several names on YouTube.
That's my new channel name, Mr. Amazing. No, I'm Mike Hatcher, formerly the Magic Historian, formerly Perp, formerly MTG Purple.
Yep, it's changed so many times. I was joking with like someone in my live stream the other day. It was like, yeah, I think the last couple name changes are after he got kicked in the head. I don't know what's up with that.
I think what it really is I want Open Boosters to acknowledge me after that video that I made, but since he refuses to, I figured if I changed my name that he would finally acknowledge me.
He's probably worried about it because he's such like an easygoing guy, you know, father with kids and stuff like that. He's probably like, I don't know what Perp's gonna do.
He probably wants, yeah. It's just like, you know what, this is fine. I'm just gonna keep opening my boosters. I'm called Open Boosters, not dealing with knobs, so I'm not talking to that guy.
He's a very non-confrontational person, really nice guy. So
same here. I don't believe in confrontation.
And here's what you can do.
There's no problem with that. We'll talk about it. Thanks for having me on your channel, buddy. Now that I've changed my name and abandoned Magic, my channel is dying and falling apart, so I need all the exposure I can get.
Dying and falling apart. As you've almost like doubled in size in like the last like how many months or something like that?
Like 2 or 3.
That's fantastic. I'm really happy to see the success that you're actually having too.
Thanks,
So for all of my viewers, I've actually been watching MTG Purple, or Mike, or whatever we're gonna call him. I've been watching him for a while, and I'm just cracking up at his videos, but I always have to like sneak off and turn down the audio so I don't get in trouble with the wife and daughter and stuff like that. But he's just absolutely hilarious. I'm going to have a link for his channel right below, but honestly, probably all of you watching this probably already know him. You're probably already familiar with him much more than me. So I'm honored, honestly, to have him on the channel. But
okay, man, you're a good guy. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. So, yeah, I definitely wanted to talk to you when you made that comment about like wanting to quit Magic. And let me do a bit of a lead in here because I was really identifying with what you're saying. And I know that we kind of tend to like play the game in like different perspectives. Like I go heavily into like the vintage, legacy, old school kind of crowd. And you've been playing a lot of the newer formats and attending a lot of like the Friday Night Magic, but you keep up with all like the lore and stuff of the game. But generally speaking, more focused on like the newer cards. Although you went off and played Chandalar and stuff like that. But so I know we kind of like currently have been playing different like genres of Magic. But I feel so similarly to you in a lot of respects. So when you were talking about your frustration with Wizards of the Coast and where they're taking the game and the money grab that they're making, there's so much of it that I identify with. And I was like, I've got to talk to you, like either just like on camera or off camera or something. But it's just, my heart really goes out to you because I don't know if you know, but I've actually quit Magic 3 times. I've sold my collection 3 times and I've bought back in 4 times. And I keep telling people now that like if I'm going to sell again, it's going to be because somebody's dying or something like that. Like I'm not going to sell again because I've gone through that, right?
Yep.
But it was for slightly different reasons each time I actually sold out. At one time I actually thought the game was going to collapse just based on like being in a bubble. Another time was just because I could never find anyone to actually play the game with. But you know, every time I sell, it's almost like shoving your hand into your chest and ripping out a piece of yourself and then just throwing it away because it's like such a part of your past. And so like I know that you're ready right now and you're pissed at Wizards and you're ready to move on, but at the same time it's like you go like, you know, 2 or 3 months past the point where you sell your cards and then you're immediately regretting it. So I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that.
No, that's not how I'm going to feel. Basically, here's what it's been. Before I have stepped away from Magic, and that's a big difference to me. Stepping away from Magic is when you go, okay, the game's not interesting me. I don't really care where my cards go. I don't even know where my cards went. And then maybe a year or 2 later, you get pulled back in, whatever. I've stepped away from Magic a couple of times. And the LGS owner that I go to, his name is Brian. He's a fantastic guy. Absolute amazing Viking boss who I've learned so much from. Anyways,
Viking boss.
He got me back in around 8th edition. And then from that point on, I was firmly re-entrenched in the game, fully thinking I would never, ever, ever step away from Magic the Gathering. Now, what happened, and there's a lot of people who are thinking that I'm having a knee-jerk reaction and leaving as a result. But what it is it's really just my conscious becoming aware of what's been going on and everything fully settling on me.
What it was like an acceptance of the reality around you kind of thing?
Yeah, what happened was for the longest time, the game store owner is an old school dude, and he didn't really jive with the idea of me talking about his place on the channel. Just, I don't know if it's due to fear of change or anything like that, but for some reason he didn't like the idea of me talking about the place on my YouTube channel. So I went to him and said, look, there are a bunch of people who are contacting me through email saying, sell my products for me, I will pay you. And I just delete their emails and shove them up because I'm not for sale. But I said, dude, I love you and I respect you and what you do, and I want to shout your praises to the heavens. And he finally agreed, you know what? Yeah, go for it. So when he did, that's when I finally started to think about it. For my 15,000 subscriber special, I thought to myself, what have I learned from this?
Oh, man? So this is recent, when he gave you the okay.
Pardon?
This is recent, when he gave you the okay.
Oh, yeah. The okay was a couple days ago. Like, this is all. So what happened was, he gave me the okay, and I spent time just contemplating all the lessons that I had learned from him. And this man runs Friday Night Magic tournaments for free, where everybody who shows up gets prizes. He runs Saturday and Sunday events for free, where everybody gets prizes. And I mean booster packs. If you looked at it from a numerical perspective, you would go, why is he even doing this? The reason he's doing it is because he loves letting people game, and he's trying to keep it cheap and affordable. So you turn around, and that's the mentality that he had at the beginning. He's the guy, he's the reason there's the broom on the shield of my channel. He is the reason I'm here right now. All of this is laying at his feet. So
unsung hero kind of deal.
Pardon?
He's an unsung hero kind of deal.
Exactly, but I'm going to be singing, baby. I'm going to sing loud and proud on that guy.
Yeah.
So it reaches a scenario where I start to think about it all. And he's like, he's the polar opposite of what Wizards is now. He's about getting to play the game, keeping it accessible, and keeping it cheap. Wizards of the Coast has gotten so greedy that every product now is more expensive. The Ultimate Masters just dumping this on the player base for the most expensive price ever, turning around and saying it's a privilege and going, this is the send-off it deserves.
It's not
when companies like Sports and More already have 4,000 boxes sold by the time we're talking here. Yeah. This kind of situation, it's not limited. This master set was printed just as much as the other ones, and they emergency popped those box toppers in and resealed it. All the additional charge shunted off onto the player base while also going, we're shelving this garbage product. You open the top box toppers. Wizards of the Coast opens the fucking box toppers on their own Twitch channel, and it comes out bent. It comes out warped. They're selling trash, and they're making people overpay. They increase the price of boxes for the stores without increasing the MSRP, so they can go on Amazon. The stores get rooked to the point where stores are going to have to buy this product to have it on the shelves and make no profit, and all the money ends up in Wizards of the Coast pockets. So you have this company that's taking and taking from a man that I love, who's right on the cusp of retirement, and I realize that they're disgusting, and they're taking from everybody. And I'm sitting there talking about this game. I can get people to love things by just sharing my joy. And the people who are coming to me saying, thanks for getting me back into Magic. Why am I driving people into this poisonous environment? Why am I doing this? It's not okay. So I realized, you know what? I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not going to do something that disgusts me. If I could step away from Magic fully right now, I would in a heartbeat. The only thing that's stopping me is supporting the store and supporting my local game community, because those guys didn't do anything wrong and they don't deserve it. So I've reached the point where it all fucking settled on me, bro. It just settled, and I was just like, this underneath has been making me uncomfortable for a long time, but it all finally clicked together, and I'm like, this is the right thing to do. And you know what? I've lost like somewhere between 50 to 75 subscribers just in the time frame of making the announcement. But I don't care. I do not care, because I'm not going to sit there and prop up this greedy sack of garbage company. If you go and look at the reviews from the people who work inside the company, it's even worse. It paints a grisly picture.
Yeah, you mentioned that in your live stream earlier today, but I didn't know what you were referring to when you said the reviews. So that's employee reviews about working at Wizards of the Coast?
Sorry, I'm going to need you to reiterate that.
You mentioned the reviews earlier when you were doing the live stream about eating bacon and all that. But I didn't know what the reference was. It was a review from Wizards employees about working at Wizards of the Coast?
That is correct. In fact, I found about 130 of them bunched together, and they paint a horrible picture of incompetent management, horrible fiscal management, and on top of that, the only thing that really seems to keep people there is getting free product. So Wizards of the Coast just takes advantage of people who love the game, underpay them. They think that they're the king, and you can see the mentality even transferred into things like MTG Arena with the developer. Magic the Gathering is so arrogant that they managed to transfer that arrogance into their own developers who are barely connected to the company, going, well, of course Magic's going to be more expensive. Why? Because it's Magic. I'm sorry, what the f did you just say? What did you? No, you have to earn that. It's not like I'm the king and now I'm the king forever. No. You were the sleek young prince that we all built this kingdom for. We built your castle, and now you're a lazy, indolent, fat, slothful king, and someone's going to take your head, and I'm going to help him.
Yeah, and all this is like, all this vile just behavior from Wizards of the Coast. It's so apparent from the outside now when they're just disconnecting from the majority of their player base. I mean, let's be honest, it's like older white males is the majority of their base, right?
Which they hate.
Yeah, they hate.
They're literally pushing an agenda of it's like a lipstick company going, you know what, we're just going to make half our customers male. You cannot deny what people are driven and like pulled towards. You can't just make women go, oh, 50% women love men. The only way to get Magic to be 50% women is to drive enough men out of the game that there are just that much left. These initiatives that they take has decreased the player base. If it worked, fine. I don't care. I want good cards. I want good lore. Magic lore has plummeted to the point. I'm not even joking, man. I was looking at that book that I threw there. Sorry, I wish I still had it in my hand. It's a Warhammer book with amazing lore in it. Like one page of that lore crushes Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering lore is this now. We made Vivian. Vivian's a reskinned Huatli. And what is she? She's from a plane Balls Destroyed, and she has a bow. Do you have anything more for me?
And that's about it.
They're putting in no effort. They sell us the same cards over. Like, if you look at Force of Will, do you know how many cards are in a Force of Will set, brother?
No, I don't actually.
110. There's only 110 different cards. Do you know why?
Probably because they balance it, right?
Because their system isn't based on planned obsolescence, where they're going to keep selling you the same cards. Pegasus Courser in 2019, in Dominaria, the exact same cards. And guess what? It was also in Guilds of Ravnica. That's the third card right there. Guilds of Ravnica, all right? As Rock Charger. It's identical. They just keep making the same cards and reselling to us, and they don't even print them in good quality. There is literally nothing left at Wizards of the Coast that speaks to anything other than get as much money as you can from these idiot investor types. And they come to my videos and talk about, you don't understand anything. This will drive the price of my Noble Heroics down by $20. Hey, moron. How would you like dollar Noble Heroics? Because that's doable.
You know, I just made a video.
We're just accepting the secondary market. Chronicles print this stuff like a mofo, drive it into the ground, and sell the boxes. That's what it's about. But instead of trying to sell as many boxes at regular price, now they're trying to create these bigger and bigger, more expensive products for all the Rudyites who like to go, oh my God, I'm an investor. Oh, I'm a big Magic money man. Get out of here. Go invest in something real. Go play with your pork bellies and gold, you losers.
Yeah, I just made a video a little bit ago saying about like if there was like one thing that Wizards of the Coast did that I honestly thought would bring me back into Standard and bring a lot of people back, if I could just pick one change. The change that I was suggesting was Wizards of the Coast needs to just spend more time playtesting the cards and adjusting them in the development phase. Like, imagine if this set came out and it was 400 cards and the commons were just as usable for the most part as like the rares were. Like, I mean, all the cards in the set are like have a reason to exist. They're not all just garbage, right? And when you go into like a standard format, like any one of like 50 or 60 decks could be the one that's actually winning the tournament because it's like pretty well balanced and people, like all the archetypes are represented. You got like your burn, you got your aggro creature, you got your control, you got your combo, all these variants in between them. If that was the environment just because they just researched it and balanced it, I would be all in, man. I would throw my cash at them and go buy those cards. But what has happened now for like 4 or 5 years is you got like 1 or 2 decks that rise to the top because they're just full of like overpowered cards, and everything else is garbage. And like everything else is like a 5-cent card, it seems like.
And that's intentional. I mean, they created the mythic rare so that they can keep the scarcity going, right? And then on top of that, they track print, which is something adorable people try and pretend isn't a thing. But Wizards of the Coast does indeed track print to ensure that you get fewer copies of the cards their guarantee will be the money cards. They know. They create these to be the money cards. They create powerful cards knowing the slots they will take up. And on top of that,
I opened 2 boxes of Iconic Masters and got 1 Mishra's Bauble just the other day.
Oh, really? Like, what a surprise. It's almost like they make sure
you're not going to
get the really expensive cards.
Yeah, it's like they knew.
almost like that we have absolute proof that they do that from past sets, but people don't want to accept that. They want to go, you know, no, they're treating us right. No, they're really not. It's gotten greedier and worse. And the crazy thing is as soon as they come up with something like the masterpieces, people loved them. And the only reason Wizards of the Coast stopped the masterpieces was because they were starting to decrease in value. They stopped printing them because they weren't worth as much money, and the players would be able to get more things. That, oh wow, players are getting access to this and enjoying. No, we're trying to create another rarity to drive sales and rip these people off, not to make them happy. That's not what it's about. Yeah. So we've done this too much, and we're taking it back.
Your Chronicles box, your new Chronicles box is really valid. You made that point in the video earlier. That's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you. Because when Chronicles was printed, as you know, but all the viewers might not know,
Elder Dragons was from 40 to 50 cents. $40 to 50 cents overnight. It was beautiful.
Yeah, Chronicles was one of the sets that actually created the reserve list because it dropped the price of cards that were like coveted cards so much that the players revolted, and Wizards of the Coast didn't want the game to die because at that point it was fairly new. So that's when they came out with the reserve list and promised it. Now, years later,
a fraction of players revolted. A fraction.
True.
Not a single person in the area that I came from, not one made a peep about that. Some loudmouth minority created the reserve list, and we got stuck with it. The reserve list is terrible. It's garbage. And the people who prop it up are scumbags who just want to be, I want my cards to be worth money. You. I want to play the game. That's all I care about. If every card goes down to a quarter, I'm happy. People come by and they're like, what, do you want your collection to go to zero? Yes! Because that's what it was like when I started. I want to play the game. I want to play the game. I don't want to play a money game. I want to play the Magic game. The reserve list is the worst.
So there's definitely validity to what you're saying. I do have a little bit of a different take on it, but I want to get to that later. No, but your point on the Chronicles one now I think is really valid, because the whole reason that Wizards of the Coast did the Modern Masters set, it was to reprint missing cards and make them available to players. So that was the whole reason why it existed, right? So even at step one, it was a little odd that they charged so much per box, but I guess people looked at it and said, well, you know, the value of the cards is good, so I guess it works. But
did you buy the first Masters?
What's that?
Did you buy the first Masters?
I bought a couple packs, not boxes.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was like $6-7 a pack and stuff. Yeah, it was great. But the reason why they did it is just like you're saying, to get more of those needed cards into the hands of like the modern players, right? That was the reason why it exists. Now you fast forward several years and they're selling them at nearly $400 a box, and just like the thing that you were talking about, that like only the highest players can actually afford those. Well, that creates the whole same problem over again, because if those cards remain a real high value, it's like, what problem did you guys solve? It's like the whole reason you did it was to just put more cards in the player's hand. You got rid of the reserve list. You're going a different direction right now. You're trying to give cards to players, but then you go in and you gouge them again. But at this time, you're not even letting the LGS get the profit off it. You're taking the profit, right?
Yeah, they're triple dipping at this point. They're literally, they want every single penny, and on top of that, I have a very, very, very strong suspicion that there are a bunch of people who work at Wizards of the Coast that own a lot of copies of these cards, and they don't want to see them go to zero, because they are like, oh, Magic will always be worth this, and I genuinely can't wait for the fiery crash that just starts obliterating value from these vultures that came and circled around the game that I love and have murdered it and are picking at the corpse. So I can't wait until their money just burns up in their hands. It's such a good feeling.
I do think that's going to happen on everything non-reserve list, and everything past a certain point. I think their value is just going to tank. But those old cards, those old cards, they're in such short supply. I honestly don't think they're ever going to completely collapse. I can see them pulling back an awful lot, but I don't think they're ever going to go completely down. They're just too rare and they're too desired, right?
The oldest cards will not hit zero. I agree, but I mean, that's fine by me as well. I'm not trying to ruin people's lives here.
Oh, I know. I know. You want to see. I get where you're coming from. You want to see people that were abusing the system and using others for profit get what's coming to them effectively, right?
Yeah, it's not even about the vengeance. It's just I just want it to stop, man. I want people to just be able to enjoy Magic and not have this horrendous thing where Wall of Kelp somehow becomes an $8, $10. Like that's idiocy. It's not based on anything other than they said they wouldn't reprint it. It's like, please, Wizards of the Coast, I can't wait until you get desperate enough that you open up the reserve list and just go to everybody. Go for it. Do it, please.
So let me throw a perspective at you because I really want to hear your take on this. So my thought is that I think it was disingenuous for Wizards to start the game off one way and then to take it like another direction, then reverse course again. I think that is really the core of what's the problem. And I'll get to like what I mean by that in a second. But if you fast forward that whole analogy to today, like everybody says, well, Magic's just a game. You know, I hear like Tara Sofia say that an awful lot. It's just a game. It's just a game. But it's actually not. It's actually a collectible card game. And Wizards of the Coast, they walk this fine line. And I think this is really where the problem comes from because they want it to be a game. They want there to be tournaments. They want people to have access to cards. But then they turn around and they sell them as randomized packs where you just got to buy a ton of boxes to get them. And the analogy I constantly say to people is like, hold on, guys. If it was just a game, not a collectible thing, just a game, they could just sell a set like a box of Monopoly. Or
collector's edition.
Or collector's edition. Like, so you go out and you buy the newest set. Maybe you give them a couple $100. I don't know, whatever it is. But the point is you get all the newest cards. You have 4 of each copy. Now you can go build any deck. That would be just a game. But the very fact that they have the cards in randomized booster packs and you have to go onto the secondary market or you got to just buy a ton of boxes to get the cards you need, it forces it to be a collectible card game that is like still in the secondary market. But we all know Wizards of the Coast, they want that because they want you to buy a ton of product. They don't want you to buy that one set. They want you to buy a case, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. They want to sell as much as possible.
And so that's really the reason why I think they do it. It's like they want it to be seen as just a game, but they don't want to let it go of their cash cow, so they keep it this collectability thing. And then now you've got all these new players, and many people come into the game now with the perspective like, I'm going to play a game. And then they discover that they can't afford a deck, and then they get all upset about it. And you got to be really honest about it. I mean, it's always been a collectible card game. It's always been something that has a secondary market, and it's got value to it and stuff like that.
It was never like this in the past, man.
Well, I mean, not
the entry level. I mean, you got when Magic started, there weren't even formats, so we can't. I feel like because of the way you feel about some of this old stuff and your vested interest in it, that you're not seeing the reality of the situation.
Okay, well, and that's fine. When I say always, what I'm referring back to is like when I first started, which was like in 1996. I mean, there was Moxes were already $120 each.
See, I started in 1994, dude. I started in 1994. Mox was fucking $15, and I said, who's going to pay $15?
So you're not wrong. Like if you go all the way back to that very beginning perspective, then I would say you're right. I mean,
that's me. So I like that. Yeah. That's the fundamental difference. Is that when I started, it was a game. Okay, when I cracked my Elder Dragon out of my pack, that was the most expensive card in the whole game. When I cracked Vivictus Asmati, he was worth $40. Black Lotus was worth $25.
True.
That was the market value.
Yeah, that's totally true.
We all just traded and we all just played, right? And so this new world here. Let me put it to you this way.
Wait, before you go there.
Hold on, just let me get to the end of this.
Okay, go ahead.
It's just a matter of like, I like collectible rare cards. Like I got this amazing Force of Will card that's super, super hard to get. I like that. What I don't like is when the market forces aren't dictated by genuine player supply and demand. When outside forces come inside that have nothing to do with the game and go, stuff like I'm going to buy reserve list cards. Why? Because you like them? Because you play Magic? No, because I know they'll never be reprinted and they can be money.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that didn't do good things for the game at all. It just drove up the prices.
That's where I have a genuine problem. Natural supply and demand is perfectly understandable. Having super rare cards, totally cool. The collectible aspect of Magic is great, and I personally love that thrill of cracking an awesome card. I like that random reward.
So I'm not disagreeing with you about like, you know, the investment side and what that did to it. I'm talking about like, okay, so set all the investment stuff aside.
Okay.
I started in '96. That was an awful long time ago, only a couple of years after Magic the Gathering first started. And from that very first point, there was already expensive cards. Yeah. And it's always been the case that there's like since then there's always been these expensive cards. Yeah, so for like 23, 24 years, people can't come in and be like and say like, oh, well, I had no idea that this was the case. I mean, that was the case. That's what Magic has been for like a really long time, and it's grown under that. But I really think that this is a problem that Wizards created because they made a collectible card game. They gave it rarity. They gave it a small print run. They promised not to print new cards, so they kind of created this problem themselves. But then years later, they started, and this is the real disconnect, I think. They started to take a position of, well, we just want it to be a great game. We want to have tournaments. We want to have rules. We want people to have access to cards, but then they never let go of the whole open-to-pack rarity thing. And that's where they never quite picked a direction, right? They just kept on trying to walk that line.
I can see where you're going with that. I mean, it certainly does feel like the formats were created in a way to force us to stop using certain cards and keep buying boosters. So, I mean, I feel you that way. Their booster,
that came from
booster
them.
method is not the ideal way. Like the living card game method right now that exists with other games like Fantasy Flight, that is the ideal way to get a card game to people without taking advantage of them.
Yeah, if I could just go to the store and buy like the newest set and just have like 4 of each of those cards, I mean, at that point, it would absolutely be just a game. And also, gosh, imagine how amazing that would be if, like, the newest Magic sets, they did that where you could just buy the set, and let's say it was, like, balanced, like I was saying, like, and all these cards are useful to, you know, there was no such thing as common and uncommon and rare and stuff. It was just, here's all the pieces to your chessboard, and they all have a reason to exist. And you have all the complexity. You've got the lore of the game. You've got the storytelling. Wizards would still make money because people would people would probably buy every set. They wouldn't skip sets.
It's true, actually. That's the LCG model. That's the living card game model. I don't know if you're familiar with those.
Oh no, I'm not actually. So I'm not familiar with that. That's actually something that exists.
There's a number of games, like there's a Lord of the Rings ones, a Game of Thrones ones, where they're called living card games. And what they do is they sell you a box set, and it has every single card. You buy this box, you get all the cards for the base set. Then they release decks, and those decks are add-on decks with every single card. Here, 4 of every copy of whatever. And so that's exactly what you're describing. But I mean,
I was just thinking Dominion because I know that game.
Like, look at this. The counterfeit market, the proxy market, is getting to the point where people can go and order whatever they want. Yeah. The counterfeits are getting amazing. It's going to get to the point where even that old school stuff, it's all going to be indistinguishable. Somebody is going to start producing perfectly indistinguishable Magic cards. That is not up for debate. It's an inevitability. All it takes is somebody finding the French paper mill and getting their hands on the proper insert cardstock, because to duplicate everything else as technology increases, we will get there. And the craziest thing is, the person who figures out isn't going to say a damn thing, and then the cards are slowly going to slide, and it's going to get to the point where, oh, you have to have it come through a chain of custody, and then it's like, and then okay, so now what's going to happen? We're going to find out some big seller who used to be a trusted name, oops, looks like they got a little greedy and found that one person, and now those cards are in the market. So I
got a couple topics on that. So, you know, anyone who puts a lot of money into their cards, like I have, but, you know, I don't buy and sell, I just buy them for my collection. So anyone who's put a decent amount of money, and just trust me when I say, they look into that topic a lot. And I'll tell you
I've had people call me on the phone about their collections. Like, oh my God, my $100,000 collection, or this much, however much worth of investment in old cards and all that. So I know, man, trust me.
Yeah, so when I looked into this deeper, what I discovered is that the oldest cards are actually the hardest ones to replicate. And I'll just give you one of the reasons right off the bat. Like you mentioned the cardstock, and that cardstock doesn't exist, and that's a reason right there. Another reason that makes it really hard is, as I'm sure you know, there was all these print plates that did the actual colors, and the print plates had
four plates.
Yep, and they had a very specific alignment to them, and all the jets had a specific alignment, and even as the dots came into the paper, they had a specific orientation. So for somebody to replicate it, they would have to replicate all of that lining up the same way. In fact, you can take like an alpha and a beta, and you can zoom way in, and you can actually see the difference between those print runs just based on the rotation of the dots and stuff. And that's like, there's nothing today that's even close to replicating that. And so that's
as far as you know.
Well, okay, sure. As far as I know,
I'm just saying. We've reached the point where you can 3D print houses. They're 3D printing houses right now. They have We've reached the point where technology is absolutely amazing.
You've got a lot of faith in technology.
Where the financial incentive to do this.
Right.
Can you figure it out? You can print $80,000 rectangles. I wonder if there's enough money in it to incentivize people.
Yeah, so for sure.
I wonder if
your point is valid. Your point is totally valid. The money is there. It's like that carrot hanging there. But to that, I say that that carrot has been there for a while. Now it's gone up quite a bit, so I'm sure people are more motivated now than they've ever been to try to go replicate those. So I'm sure at this very second there's people trying to figure that out, and yet no one's actually done it. And so there's the cardstock thing, there's the ink dot thing, and then there's also the fact that all the cards that actually exist now, well, they're like 25-year-old cardboard. So you have to also replicate aging cardboard, which isn't the same as like some new cardboard, right? And that's even a different thing.
They're gonna have to figure out weathering techniques. My current belief is that they are not close, but I could see it happening within 10 years. The way the technology is accelerating and the stuff that we have now, I would not be surprised at all to find out in 10 years that they can replicate that, including aging it. I mean, people do this with art and other things. This isn't something new.
Of course, things like that are possible, but there's nothing I see that shows me that that's actually the case. And I'll just tell you that I know people with tens of millions of dollars invested in cards that have looked even deeper into this, and like they've come to that same conclusion. But what's interesting though is the newer cards; those are easy to counterfeit.
Because they're trash. Like, they're all. There's so much variance that you don't even have to try and replicate anything because it doesn't matter what. The only thing that's going to give it away is if you make the card too high quality. Look at how look at how straight these counterfeits are. Look at these proxies. They're totally like, they're gorgeous. They're better quality than the damn cards Wizard prints now.
That's the most hilarious part about it.
Just like, you kidding me?
Yeah.
I know, like, I didn't order these. Somebody just sent them to me, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Just ridiculous.
And the little hologram thing that WotC put in there, and now, like, I don't know if you saw my video. The other day I had Tavis King on my channel, and he was going through showing a bunch of counterfeits, and he was talking about how you tell them and, like, what's different. And, like, that little hologram sticker, it's there on the counterfeits now. But of course,
yeah, no, dude, I swear, I had some cards that I threw in water just as like I was screwing around with some booster packs. I put them in water, so the cards got waterlogged. I took the rares out and threw them into the water, and the one disintegrated in a way where the actual stamp stayed intact, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me! It can't be this easy to get like. It's like security at the airport kind of thing. It's there for show. It doesn't do anything.
So I wanted to bring up another topic also, because I noticed you mentioned that you kept all your old school cards, and you mentioned the reason is nostalgia, because that's what you had when you started.
I got old school stuff right here. I just got somebody else's like stuff. Look at this old binder.
Okay, yeah, actually, I want to see that.
Old fun stuff.
Oh, there you go, initiates and stuff like that. Okay, so I love it that you did that. Not just because, of course, there's financial value in those, but I know you don't care about that. You're about the nostalgia, and that's awesome, right? But what I've discovered in playing old school, that balance that I was just mentioning, that like imagine if you went to a tournament and there's all these decks competing, and any one of them can win. People are surprised to discover that that's actually what happens in old school tournaments. When you look, you would think that it's all about the deck, right? If I play the deck and then I win, someone with the deck's going to win. But I'm telling you, go look at the old school tournaments. One just happened a little while ago, the Fish Liver Cup. There was a non-powered deck that actually took first place out of 115 people.
I used to beat people with Lotuses and Moxes and the Abyss and everything like that with a Thallid deck. I literally went in with the deck built out of the Thallids, and all I had was a Sword of the Ages in there, I think, and like some Moss monsters. And I took the whole tournament. In fact, Buddy, who wants the LGS, he stopped to mock the one guy because his deck was loaded out with power. He stopped the entire tournament, and he's like, this guy was just defeated by a Thallid deck. And he gave me an entire box of Fallen Empires, and he turned around to that guy and was like, here's a Thallid to start a good deck. It was amazing.
That's hilarious. So that's actually what I love about it. So I've done a lot of videos in my channel where I'm trying to like get that message out that you can literally go build a budget deck, and you can actually be competitive in old school. And you're probably not going to like necessarily win right off the bat with something that's 100% budget. You might have to put a couple cards that are, they don't have to be power cards and dual lands, but at least like a couple like nicer things because you have to have access to some of the others. But one thing that I mention to people is like, I constantly say this, like imagine you put like $200 into an old school deck and you play it for a while, then you eventually upgrade those dual lands, and then maybe you add a Chaos Orb, and eventually the value of the deck gets up, and then after like a year you're like, I'm really sick of playing white-green. So you trade the whole deck away, and dollar for dollar, you trade it into like a blue-black deck or something like that. And people will trade old school for old school. And so like, as now you have that blue-black, and now maybe you add in like your first Time Walk, and maybe you add in something else, and so the value keeps growing, then you shift it over to something else. So it's like your value can keep growing in it, as you like over time, you know, buy cards, birthdays or whatever, and then people will always trade old school for old school, so you can just shift it around, right? And you've got this like eternal format that you can now play. In fact, I this is one thing I said to Rudy. I was like, Rudy, you've got to talk to Jeremy, you know, in Unsleeved Media. I was like, this is the most genius thing. You've got to do this. Tell him to play old school. Because old school, it's like, it's a format. It's not ran by Wizards of the Coast. In fact, they're pissed about it. They don't control the rules. They don't control the tournaments. People use like collector's edition cards, and WotC hates that. Yeah. It's completely self-organized. Wizards of the Coast could burn to the ground, and old school tournaments will keep going, right? They're completely independent of Wizards of the Coast. So now look at it from WotC's perspective. They hate Jeremy, right? They ban him from the tournaments, and they don't want him to touch Magic. And then it's like he goes and plays old school tournaments. It's like, you know, they can't stop him. And at the same time, like, his value is protected, and he can get back into all the nostalgia that he remembered and stuff. So I was like, Rudy, it's beautiful. Have him play old school. And he likes the idea. I don't know if they had that conversation or not. But then when you said you were going to keep all your old school cards, I was like, yes, perfect, right? Because now you can just keep playing those cards, and they're all good cards. Just like you said.
Dude. I built, I actually put together a league of just old school cards where I made old booster packs, basically. And then for my friends, I just hooked them to them for $1 a pack, where it was like, and the stuff, I mean, some of the rares are like unlimited awesomeness. So it's like, they were like, came back and like, do you know what that card you gave me is worth? I'm like, I don't care. Let's play old school. We're playing for annual. Let's have fun. I'll give you those cards so we can play, boy.
You know, a lot of the other, because, you know, I hang out with a lot of guys that are collectors and investors and stuff, and Mike, they give me crap all the time, because all the cards that I buy are like LP and lower. And they're always
good,
like,
man. Good, yeah.
Yeah, they're always like, dude, Edwin, you need to get this card. Why'd you buy that piece of crap? And I'm always like, because I play it. I mean, imagine spending a ton of money on like a near mint card, and I'm sitting here shuffling it, and then I get my first nick on it. It's like, okay, well, there goes $2,000.
Oh my god, yeah, that's
so
good.
I don't own
beat up fastball that somebody sent me. Like a fan sent me it for my King Cube, and when I took it out and looked at it, like I got it right here.
Oh, see there you go. There you go.
That makes me happy, man. I got no. Oh my god,
well loved.
Card abuse. Card abuse. Oh no.
Yeah, I literally, like, almost all of my cards are at least LP. I mean, I've got a couple that are nice, but, like, I didn't buy them because they were nice. They just happened to be nice and, like, the right price, right? Yeah. But I still play with it. I don't own a single slab card right now.
Nice, man. Minty Fresh it has its own enjoyment, but I'm one of those guys who's like, I played before sleeves, boy. It's like, brr, brr, let's go. I'm going to beat your face in, you know?
Have you actually played an old school tournament yet?
No.
Dude, you've got to do it.
I don't have it. I don't have any of the big cards, bro. I don't have any of the big cards. Remember, I sold them off a long time ago.
You don't need the big cards.
I never had the resources. I've never had the resources to hang on to big cards. I've always had to keep moving. I've been selling Magic cards a long time.
I will make you this bet. I could recommend either a budget or a mid-range expense deck, maybe $300-400 deck that you could maybe even win a tournament with.
Yeah, I got to be honest. Because of the way things have gone with Magic the Gathering, aside from my King Cube, like the King Cube is getting shelved, the cards are getting shelved. I don't feel like playing Magic very much. I've been dabbling in Arena a tiny bit, but I don't feel called to play the game when there's other things I could be enjoying more at this point.
Yeah, definitely don't force yourself to do it. If you're just kind of pissed at it and want to do something else for a while, that's totally valid. I totally get that. On that note, what else are you going to be doing?
All kinds of things, man. There's Force of Will, which I'm a really big fan of because it sorted out a number of problems with Magic the Gathering, where it's like
mana pile thing.
You get your lands automatically, where you can just get a land every turn from that pile. The sets are only 110 cards. There's not a lot of extra jank. The games, I mean, they stole a lot of awesome concepts from Magic the Gathering. You have like, they took a lot of good from Magic and dumped a bunch of the bad. The company actually, and the company itself, my God, it's like they're the polar opposites of Wizards of the Coast. They had this thing, basically, to play the game, you need a ruler. It's very similar to having a commander. So you have to have a ruler. And one of the problems with the game was you could only get rulers from booster packs. It's hard to come by. You maybe get one or two out of a booster box. And then they kind of ramped it up and made them even rarer for a little while. But then the players were like, yo, this is not okay. So they came along, and now every single ruler you can buy in starter decks. And the starter decks come with 2 rulers, and they only put special, like, uber rare versions in the packs for if you want to chase after them and have a value. And people, like, on the secondary market, these uber rulers, I see people already paying $100 for these things. Now, Force of Will has been around for like 6 or 7 years. It's like, it's a contender, but it needs attention, and I'm going to give it that attention. And another thing that seems really exciting, honestly, is if you haven't heard about Keyforge.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier today in your stream, didn't you? You're going to buy a bunch of those?
Oh, hell yeah, dude. I was down at my LGS today saying, bro, here, I need to know, can you hook me a full box of displays of this? Because if you can't provide that much, when I hit Toronto on Thursday, because I'm going to a big YouTube party in Toronto, when I hit Toronto on Thursday, I'm going to try and pick some up there. This game is incredibly interesting. The decks cannot be changed. So how it works is every single deck in the world is absolutely unique. So I have the only copy in the entire world of a deck with this particular design on the back and the name. So every deck in the world has a unique name. Mine is the Ally who regularly instructs geckos. It's procedurally generated. It's printed on every single card. You have to play with translucent sleeves, and there's a QR code to register these for tournaments. The decks are completely random with no set amount of rares, uncommons, commons, or anything like that. They can be varying power levels. And if your deck ends up being too powerful in tournaments, they will slowly handicap it until eventually retiring your deck. That will create a secondary market for these decks. In fact, some of these decks have already sold for $250, and the game's not even out yet. Now, the reason for that is there was they screwed up. The procedurally generated issue actually creates names that they needed to ban. So those decks are worth a lot of money. Like the Farmer of Racism went for $250.
Farmer of Racism?
Yeah. And there's another one.
What are you growing here?
And there's also Slightly Moldy Jezebel. So the potential that this game has is actually really incredible. Every deck is almost like its own booster pack exploration. And the price of the game for one of these decks, $10 American. A pack of you friggin' unlimited masters, 14 US. $10 for a whole deck.
Like a unique deck. The only one in the world kind of deal, right?
Yeah, and every single deck is unique. There will be no, like, on top of the backspeak different, the composition of every deck is unique. There are no two identical decks in the entire world.
That's pretty cool. That's honestly pretty cool. I might have to find a LGS around here in Orlando, see if I can pick one of those things up.
Yeah, they're super cheap. Cool. You can find them apparently on online as well. So whatever floats your boat. But to me, those are the things I'm going to be moving into. Warhammer lore, like whatever. I just want to share my joy with people, and that's what I was doing with Magic. But I'm tired of getting spit in the mouth and having my face slapped, and then also bringing people into this face spitting party. Like I'm not going to do it. I can't hype people up about something that I think is disgusting now.
You know, it's funny. Like I hear that same kind of sentiment from so many other YouTubers about like the way that the community is and how everybody fights and stuff. Like for a while, like I was constantly intending to make a video about why I don't get on Twitter very much, why I do Instagram and not Twitter. Because on Instagram, everybody gets on there and they share their passions. Like here's a picture of something that I love.
Instagram's not a cesspool.
Yeah, that's the essence of Instagram. Like here's something cool or beautiful or that I love.
And nobody comes along and goes, I hate it. I have to show how much I hate it, and I need to rally the people against it.
Yeah, and on Twitter, it's just like it's a constant argument. Everyone's always hating everyone else, putting each other's comments down. My name has only popped up a couple of times on Twitter where people say something about me, and like every time it's negative. It's not like...
Yeah, dude, I got... You know Boogie2988?
Oh, yeah.
Somebody tweeted at me and him. It was like, at Boogie2988... at MTG Purple and every other white bigot male. And I'm like, I didn't even know who you are. What is going on? Like, there's just these people. Twitter is about attacking and showing everybody that you're an attacker and that makes you a good person. Twitter is honestly just full of like 20-year-old kids and then people who just have given into that mindset. It is a morass of garbage. You're making the right choice. My rule for Twitter now, because I use Twitter, is I don't even look at the left-hand bar with all those things they want you to click on. I just post my stuff about my channel, and that's it.
And, you know, I can even tell just based on the demographic, like when I'm posting things, I'll post something on, like, YouTube and a fraction of it on Instagram and on Twitter. And, you know, I'm always trying to be kind of upbeat and positive. I'm trying to focus on things that I enjoy. Yeah, you're a nice guy,
man. You're a good part of the community. Sorry for interrupting you.
Dude, you're great. So I'm always trying to do, like, something that's fun. And like on YouTube, people enjoy the content. On Instagram, I've got like half as many followers as I do on YouTube. People like it. And on Twitter, it's like nothing. Like nobody's interested in what I've got to say. Because I'll get on there and be like, hey, here's something cool. And people will just be like, you know, swipe left, just move up, you know, go right past it. It's terrible. They don't care. Yeah. I can get no traction on Twitter whatsoever.
I got like 60 people on my Instagram, bro. So I don't have a big Instagram.
Oh, you have an
but
Instagram. Okay, you've got to email it to me because I want to see what it is then.
You can if you want. I mean, I don't have too many pictures up on it. It's actually also listed in the description, all my videos, I'm pretty sure, and up at the top too over there. So
okay.
You can, yeah, if you want. If you want, don't worry about it though. I infrequently use it. I was originally looking for a replacement for Twitter, and when I got the community tab access on YouTube where I can post direct pictures and things like that, it kind of obviated the need for my Instagram to a degree.
How did that happen, the community access? Did you have to get over a certain number or something?
Here's the weird thing. I didn't have access to it at first, and I was told by Desolator that you need 10,000 subscribers to get it, and I got an email from YouTube saying you have blah 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 10,000 subscribers and you've unlocked it, but they didn't do it until I had 14,000. But the thing is, I'm fairly positive that I saw MTG Unpacked using the same thing, and he only has 2,000 subscribers. So I don't know if they've changed it, and I don't know. YouTube is very weird with the way they do things. They gave me access to a bunch of features before other people, but also pulled some back. They experiment without explaining. Like, they will do things where they will change your thumbnails without telling you and show a different thumbnail to a percentage of people just to see how they react to it. So they're very, like, you'll get a bit of information if you're lucky. The good news is I don't try and game the system. I just make what I want and put it up, so it doesn't bother me that much.
Yeah. It'd be kind of interesting because I actually really enjoy reaching out to other YouTubers because most of the time what I find is like Magic YouTubers are also passionate about this stuff. They do it because they love it, right? Yep. And if you only got a couple thousand followers like I do, like, you're not doing it as like an income. I barely make anything, right? Only
thousands upon thousands of human beings, each with a life as rich and diverse as ours, but only thousands. Like, that's nothing. Like, it's not. Do you know how many people don't have anybody follow them? Don't diminish that, man. Don't diminish yourself. Don't play down your own value.
Okay, well, I was just meaning to say that, like, it's only like $50 to $100 a month, if even that I'll get out of it. And, like, you know, at work, you know, I've been doing engineering for 18 years. I have a good income, right? It's not even close. The difference
between our set and our camera. Thanks for rubbing it in too, buddy. I think the people can all see.
Mike, that's not the way I was going. I was just
with his shitty unpainted walls and his garbage living conditions and lower camera quality. But please,
come on! If you knock that whole back wall down, I'm sure it's gold bricks all behind it, and this is all an act. You're not putting that past me.
Oh yeah.
It's all a green screen.
Come to the poverty shack and you tell me, Edwin, you come to my tiny little joke of an apartment and I guarantee you will empty your wallet on the spot. I'm so sorry. I didn't know you lived like this. Let me help you. I've been staring the whole time. I've been looking at your set, and in my head, I'm like, God damn, look at how good his camera quality. Look at how good his set is. And I can see my wall in the back with the Halloween blood. I haven't even washed off the wall. Stuff's falling down. I haven't bothered to fix it. This is me. This is my life. Cheap and broken.
Well, okay, so the camera is only like a $40, $50 camera. It's actually not super
guess
expensive.
What then? Guess what, chump boy? I have a $1,000 camera that I don't use.
There you go.
Yet. But I have a $1,000 camera, so I win. I win. It was bought for me by somebody who has money. I didn't buy it for myself. I couldn't afford that.
Well, dude, you deserve it. Your channel is so entertaining. I've been enjoying the hell out of it for so long.
Well, thanks, man. I'm glad to have people like you come by because honestly, you're somebody that whenever I see your name, my brain never goes, "Oh God, what is this idiot going to say?" It's like, "Oh, sweet," you know.
Thank God. God, I don't want to have that kind of reaction. I got to tell you, and Daniel always gets on my case about this. When people get pissed at me, it actually really irritates me. Especially,
I can't even see how people get pissed at you. You're so chill. What the hell do you even do?
Dude, they do. People get really pissed at me, and what especially gets under my skin is when someone calls me like a liar. Like, I'm actually okay with someone calling me an idiot or saying I did something stupid or what the heck were you thinking, whatever. But when someone calls me a liar, it just boils my blood, right?
I get it, dude. I follow people back to their channels. It doesn't matter if they have one video that was made 9 years ago. I go and rip them up.
I can totally see you doing that, too.
I do it. And then they go, what are you doing here? And I'm like, if I respond over there, you're just either going to, like, ignore it, not even see it, or other people are going to come along. It's like, no. You came to my house, I'm coming to your house.
So, yeah, how long have we been going here? This is a pretty good-sized video. We could probably stop this one, and if you want, maybe do another one.
If it's up to you, brother. If you want to. I'm cool. I'm just chilling and chatting, man.